Hey, welcome to Coops DFS. I'm going to break down the PGA Tour event, the Cognizant Classic, which is this Thursday, February 29th. I'm going to build a lineup on Draftkings and talk about my favorite players. Let's break it down. All right, the Cognizant Classic is going to be played in Palm Beach Gardens, which is in Florida, so we should have great weather. This course is known for being one of the more difficult courses, so we're going to look for some players that play well on these challenging types of courses. So let's break it down here and build up a lineup. All right, so we got our DraftKings tournament lineup build that we're going to build here, and you can see our first player that we're going to talk about, Rory McIlroy. The first thing we got to call out is the price, $12,200, which is, over $1,500 more than the next highest person. So when we talk about just the talent on the field, Rory is going to stand out head and shoulders above everybody else. Hasn't had the greatest form recently, played in the match not too long ago, but in the Genesis was tied for 24th, and Pebble Beach Pro-Am was tied for 66th. So not great form, but Rory's always a threat when he's in the field. So you can look at Rory. I think if you're going to fit him in your lineup, you're going to have to look at a couple mid-range players and then look for some value, which there is on this slate. So you could go Rory. I'm assuming there's going to be pretty high ownership. I'm going to come down a little bit, though. Cameron Young is a player that I really like. Cameron Young finished tied for 8th in the Phoenix Open and tied for 16th at the Genesis, if you look at it there. So not pretty solid form. Could be a nice little pivot play off of Rory. So Cameron Young is someone I like in my lineup. And for the sake of this one, I'm going to plug him in. At 10,700, you're getting a little bit of relief from that high price of Rory. Coming down just a little bit, we get into our next player that I like, Eric Cole. Eric Cole was tied for second last year at this event. So if you're looking for somebody that plays this course well, you can go Eric Cole. Also has great form coming off of tied for 10th at the Genesis. So could be a really solid play here. And I do like Eric Cole's fourth that he's got in total strokes gained in the last 48 rounds. So someone that's a really solid play. For my lineup, I'm going to go down a little bit further, though. And someone I really like, if we scroll down to 9,300, Shane Lowry, the Irishman. This is interesting because if you look at recent form here, had a cut and then a tied for 60th most recently. So you can say, like, hey, not playing very well. But when you look at this course, he hasn't missed a cut at this course. Tied for second here in 2022 and tied for 5th last year. So Shane Lowry is someone who I really like to come in strong here, kind of right the ship of some of his more recent form. So I'm going to plug Shane Lowry in here. So we're starting to get our lineup built. I'm going to kind of stay in this range because there's a lot of golfers that I like right around this 8,000, 9,000 kind of price tag range. And my next one is Keith Mitchell I'm going to talk about. So if we look at Keith Mitchell's recent form, a couple of top 20 finishes at Phoenix and then in Mexico, coming off of those two finishes. But I do like second in total strokes gained in his last 16 rounds. And the one thing that's been holding Keith back is that he hasn't putt very well. But when you come to this event, it's on Bermuda grass, which he actually prefers. So I'm looking for him to kind of fix that putting game up a little bit and turn some of these top 20 finishes up a little bit higher. So Keith Mitchell is somebody that I think is a really strong play. So I'm going to plug him in. Not too far down, Sepp Straka is at 8,600. So we're coming down below 9,000. Straka plays really well at this course also. And he's got a win a couple of years ago and then a top 5 last year. So, again, someone that kind of comes in not in the most great form, but when you come to this course, it's a little bit different, a little bit more challenging. I think Sepp's going to play really well here, and history shows that he can put in those winning performances. So, I like Sepp Straka. There's a couple other players in this range that I really enjoy and would hope I can fit him in my lineup, but for the sake of my build, I can't. But I still want to talk about him. So Svensson right here. We got Adam Svensson coming in a top 10 finish at the Genesis. He is a really great long iron player and could fit really well with this course. So good form, and then game kind of fits the course. So I like Svensson. If you can fit him in your lineup at 7,700 is a great play. And then I also like Maverick McNeely. So at 7,100, if you can find a way to get Maverick in your lineup, a top 6 finish at Phoenix and a top 13 in Mexico. So really good form recently. Maverick McNeely is another great play in the 7,000 range. But for my lineup, I need a little bit more value than that. You can see I've got 12,400 left, so I'm going to come down even a little bit further. I like Dylan Wu at 6,100. Dylan Wu had a top 24 finish at Mexico, but at this event, he's got a top 30 finish and a top 10 recently. So again, somebody who plays this course really well. I like Dylan Wu a lot. And then rounding it out, another great value play that I'm going to plug into my lineup. We're going to go with Novak at $5,900. That is a great value for somebody who, if you look at form, 2 top 10 finishes recently, tied for 8th in the Phoenix Open and tied for 8th in Mexico. So going off of like a really hot golfer, good form, has made 2 out of 3 cuts at this course. So Andrew Novak is somebody that I think is great value. And at that price point, I got to plug him into my lineup. So it kind of leaves me my build here with a really expensive golfer in Cameron Young. But then coming it back, I've got a lot of mid-range golfers that are really, really like Lowry, Mitchell, and Straka. And then a couple of value plays in Wu and Novak. So hopefully this lineup does well in the tournament. Let me know in the comments what you decide to do for your lineup here for the Cognizant Classic. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe so that way you can catch more content that I have coming out. But be safe out there. Thanks, everybody.